Only on 2 tonight as most courts transition back to in-person hearings this month. New York State's traffic court is planning to do the opposite and instead stay virtual.
The state says that it is a cost-cutting measure, and some say it's a money grab from motorists. CBS 2's Lisa Rozner has learned that this could be permanent.
This taxi driver says he got a speeding ticket trying to get to a service station fast when he had an emergency.
I asked the question, why you give me ticket? Because my wheel was flat.
He wanted to tell that to a traffic court judge and confront his accuser, the NYPD officer who wrote the summons.
How they know why the police give the ticket me? I have to explain.
But he says it's too complicated in virtual court, which is how the Traffic Violations Bureau, or TVB, has been conducting hearings since the pandemic began. The Taxi Workers Alliance in Long Island City is filled with drivers who don't have access to a computer or updated smartphone. Assemblywoman Michael Solage says it hits the people most who can afford it least.
I see a lot of people who are unfortunately, they are getting suspensions on their license because, for instance, they couldn't log on or they got disconnected during the hearing process.
Some motorists, if they can get a reservation, can come to court and appear in front of a judge, but the police officer will not be there. Officers are allowed to appear by telephone or video. Traffic attorneys are calling it TikTok justice. They're suing the state, arguing motorists are being denied the constitutional right to confront their accuser.
You can't see their body language. You can't see their demeanor, their facial expressions. There's a lag often. We are losing more cases.
And as other courts reopen, the doors to traffic court could stay shut. CBS 2 exclusively obtained a court document submitted by the state's top traffic judge showing the DMV is transitioning all TVB offices to virtual hearings. That it will result in savings to taxpayers because the state can consolidate TVB offices and cut expensive leases and security service contracts. Mark Peters is CBS 2's urban affairs expert.
Because they can just get a lot of hearings done virtually one after another without having to take a whole day to be sitting around.
But motorists say now they often wind up waiting for hours online, and a phone call is the only way to reschedule.
You call them, they don't even pick up the phone.
Drivers can't just show up in court and pay bond to reschedule like they used to, so no luck by phone means...
And they are manipulated to plead guilty. If they don't plead guilty, then they, after 30 days, their license got suspended. And then they have to pay $70 more to restore his license.
Solage and the Assembly's transportation chair have written letters to the DMV commissioner asking the courts be reopened, arguing that cutting expenses does not trump motorists' constitutional rights. In the Fordham section of the Bronx, Lisa Rozner, CBS 2 News.
Now, the DMV says the number of convictions has barely changed with virtual court. The agency did decline our on-camera interview request, but did acknowledge lawmakers' concerns and is continuing to evaluate the process.